begins with a chilling silence. Imagine the grand bells of a royal palace ringing in celebration. Crowds gathered to witness history, a nation on the edge of festivity, a royal wedding, the kind of spectacle that only happens once in a lifetime. The bride, adorned in priceless jewels, the very symbol of tradition and continuity, was meant to walk down the aisle and cement her place in the history books. Yet, as the moment arrived, something unthinkable happened. The bride never showed up. Whispers turned into gasps, gasps into panic, and before anyone knew it, the grandest ceremony of the age had transformed into the greatest scandal of the century. The story of the royal bride who disappeared is not just about mystery. It is about betrayal, politics, broken promises, and the terrifying price of defiance inside the gilded cage of monarchy. And tonight, we unravel every secret, every shadow, and every cover-up that followed her vanishing act. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will make you question whether royal love stories are fairy tales, or prisons disguised as palaces. The world has always been fascinated with royalty. Their lives are guarded, their traditions ancient, and their scandals, when they break, feel larger than life. But none cut deeper than the disappearance of a royal bride, who was meant to unite families, strengthen empires, and give people hope. Instead, she left a trail of confusion and questions that decades later still remain unanswered. The day was perfect. Golden sunlight streamed through centuries-old windows of the palace. Nobles and aristocrats from across the world arrived in gowns and uniforms stitched in silk and gold. The scent of roses filled the courtyards, every petal carefully chosen to match the grandeur of the occasion. The groom, a young, ambitious royal, stood at the altar, every move rehearsed, every smile perfected for the cameras. Behind him, the royal family held their posture, faces carved in stone, waiting for the bride who would never come. The carriages were ready, the horses gleamed, their manes brushed to perfection. Crowds lined the streets, chanting the name of the bride, a woman whose beauty and poise had already captured the imagination of the people. She was their princess in waiting, the one who would bring renewal and modernity to a monarchy struggling to remain relevant. But as minutes turned to hours, the truth became impossible to hide. The bride was gone. Now, disappearances in ordinary families bring chaos. But when a royal bride vanishes on her wedding day, the consequences ripple across nations. It wasn't just about two people marrying. It was about treaties, political alliances, and decades of planning. And suddenly, with her absence, everything crumbled. What happened to her? That is the question that historians, journalists, and even conspiracy theorists have tried to solve for decades. Some say she fled in fear, suffocated by the weight of tradition. Others whisper she fell in love with another, a man who could never be accepted by the crown. There are darker stories too, of silenced voices, hidden truths, and a palace machinery determined to protect its image at all costs. Behind the polished marble walls of the palace, the truth was far messier than the fairy tale told to the public. The bride, though admired by many, had been trapped in a life she did not choose. Raised under the spotlight, her every move was watched, her every word weighed. Freedom was an illusion, and her destiny had been mapped out long before she could even dream of her own future. The wedding was not just a union of love, it was a business transaction, a political chess move designed to secure power. The weeks leading up to the ceremony revealed her unease. Servants whispered that she often stared out the palace windows for hours, as if searching for escape in the world beyond. Letters later discovered showed her confiding in close friends that she felt like a bird in a cage, dressed in diamonds but denied her wings. She longed for something different, something real. The night before the wedding, her chamber was filled with gifts from across the world. Necklaces, tiaras, embroidered gowns that cost more than entire villages, yet none of it mattered. To her, they were chains, disguised as luxuries. That night, she made a choice that would alter history. By dawn, the palace was buzzing with preparations, but her room was empty. Her gown lay untouched, her crown still in its velvet box. Guards swarmed the halls, servants were interrogated, and yet there was no sign of her. The carriage waiting to take her to the cathedral stood idle, horses growing restless as time slipped away. Rumors erupted instantly. Some said she was kidnapped, others believed she ran off with a secret lover. Some even whispered of darker truths, that perhaps she was silenced for refusing to obey. What is certain is that the royal family scrambled to control the narrative. They announced she had fallen ill, but no one believed it. The people had seen too much. The press had already smelled blood, and the scandal was impossible to bury. For days, newspapers splashed her image on the front pages. Was this the downfall of the monarchy? Could a single woman's disappearance unravel centuries of carefully maintained power? Behind closed doors, deals were collapsing. Leaders who had traveled for the wedding returned home furious, treaties unsigned. The groom himself, humiliated and abandoned, became the subject of gossip, his reputation forever scarred. And yet, the bride's fate remained hidden. Some accounts place her fleeing across the sea under disguise, living a quiet life far from the palace that caged her. Others insist she was caught, hidden away, her life rewritten by those who could not risk the monarchy losing face. A few conspiracies go even further, suggesting that her disappearance was staged by the crown itself, a way to protect secrets too dangerous to be revealed. What makes this scandal unforgettable is not just the mystery, but what it symbolized. A bride, groomed from childhood to serve her crown, chose defiance instead. Whether she ran away or was erased, her absence spoke louder than her presence ever could. She became an unintentional rebel, a symbol of the fight between tradition and freedom, duty and desire. Over the years, countless sightings were reported. A woman resembling her was seen in Paris, another in Rome, another in a quiet village far from the reach of royalty. None were confirmed, but each sighting kept the legend alive. Books were written, documentaries filmed, and even today, the story of the vanished bride captures imaginations. But perhaps the true scandal lies not in her disappearance, but in what it revealed. That behind the polished crowns and glittering jewels, royalty is not immune to heartbreak, rebellion, or the desperate need for freedom. The bride who disappeared was not just a mystery to solve, but a mirror reflecting the cracks in a system built on control. And so, the question lingers: did she escape to freedom, or was she silenced forever? Did she find love and happiness far from the palace, or did she pay the ultimate price for saying no? The answers may never come, but one truth remains: her story shook the throne to its core. In the end, the grand wedding that was meant to secure power became the very thing that exposed its fragility. And the missing bride, whether alive or gone, remains the most haunting reminder that even in the most powerful families, no one is safe from scandal. This was the royal scandal of the bride who disappeared. And if you crave more untold truths, shadows of history, and whispers of betrayal, don't forget to subscribe to Throne of Scandals. Because in the world of royalty, the crown may glitter, but it hides more than you'll ever imagine.